The word being thrown around Windsor today is selfish. It is a word that stings, a word that bites, and a word that is currently being plastered across the headlines to describe the Prince and Princess of Wales. Can you believe the audacity? We are talking about the future King and Queen of the United Kingdom, a couple who have dedicated their lives to service, who have battled cancer with dignity, and who are raising the next generation of the monarchy. And yet, because a few local dog walkers have to change their route, Prince William is being branded a villain. We are witnessing a clash of entitlement versus necessity, a battle between the comfort of the few and the safety of the crown. The Wales family has moved into their forever home, Forest Lodge, and the local reaction has been nothing short of hysterical. Tears are being shed, petitions are likely being signed, and the accusation is that William and Kate have annexed public land for their own private kingdom. But is this really about selfishness? Or is it about the brutal reality of protecting the most high-profile family on the planet? Welcome back to the channel, the only place where we cut through the noise of the disgruntled neighbors and get to the heart of the royal reality. We don't just read the complaints, we analyze the context. If you believe that the safety of the heir to the throne is more important than a convenient parking spot, smash that subscribe button right now. Let's dive into the controversy that has turned Windsor Great Park into a battleground. The backdrop to this story is the Wales family's recent relocation. After a turbulent few years, marking the death of Queen Elizabeth, the accession of King Charles, and Catherine's courageous battle with cancer, William and Kate decided they needed a sanctuary. They needed a place that was secure, private, and permanent. They chose Forest Lodge, a £16 million mansion nestled in the sprawling grounds of Windsor Great Park. It sounds idyllic, doesn't it? A place where Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis can grow up away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi. But this move has come with a heavy price tag, not just financially, but socially. The report we have in front of us paints a picture of a community in uproar. Locals are furious. They claim that around 150 acres of previously publicly accessible land has been shut off. We are talking about vast swathes of oak-studded open fields that have been enjoyed by the public for generations. Overnight, the landscape changed. Dog walkers who have used these routes for 15 years suddenly found miles of fencing cropping up. They saw no public entry signs. They saw dugout trenches and new hedging designed to stop intruders. And perhaps most intimidating of all, they saw a major police presence and CCTV cameras watching every move. This isn't just a fence, it is a fortress. The royal couple has imposed a 2.3-mile personal exclusion area around Forest Lodge. This has been designated as a Serious Organized Crime and Police Act exclusion area, or SOCPA for short. That sounds technical, but the implication is severe. It means that anyone caught trespassing in this zone isn't just going to get a slap on the wrist and asked to leave. They will be arrested. This is a no-go zone. It is a sterile corridor designed to keep threats at bay. And this is where the local anger reaches a boiling point. One local resident, a woman named Tina, who owns a home on the opposite side of the lodge, has gone public with her grievances. She says the move has come as a huge blow. She claims that while the exclusion zone is portrayed as small, the reality is that the magic of the park is being destroyed. She fumed to reporters that more than half of Windsor Great Park is private. She argues that by closing the Cranbourne Gate and the surrounding land, people are forced into other overcrowded areas. She laments the loss of the open fields where she used to train her dog. She says it's all forest on her side now. Now, I want to pause here. I have sympathy for Tina. Nobody likes change. Nobody likes losing their favorite walking spot. But when she calls this a selfish act, she is missing the bigger picture. She claims, "I doubt they gave a second thought to the implications for others. I would argue they gave it every thought." This decision wasn't made on a whim. This wasn't William waking up one morning and saying, "I want to steal the peasants' land." This was a decision made by the Home Office, by Thames Valley Police, and by the highest levels of royal security. We have to remember who Prince William is. He is the son of Princess Diana. He is a man who watched his mother being hunted by the press. He is a man who has lived with death threats his entire life. He previously said, "If you let that creep in, the damage it can do to your family life is something that I vowed would never happen to my family." That is a vow. That is a blood oath. William is a lion protecting his cubs. If closing a few acres of parkland ensures that Prince George doesn't have a camera lens, or worse, a rifle scope, pointed at him while he plays in the garden, then so be it. But the accusations go deeper than just dog walking. The report highlights that 2 families who lived in cottages nearby the Wales' new home have been evicted. This is the headline the anti-monarchists love. Royals kick out families. It sounds terrible. But let's look at the facts. These properties are owned by the Crown Estate. These families were tenants. When the security assessment determined that you cannot have private citizens living within the blast zone of the future king's house, they had to go. The source admits, "I guess they were given somewhere else." Exactly. They were relocated. They weren't thrown onto the streets of London. They were moved to other properties on the park. The source puts it bluntly. Those houses are very close to the lodge, so they're not going to want any Tom, Dick, or Harry living in those houses if there are going to be royals there. It is a harsh reality, but a necessary one. You cannot vet every single visitor that a private tenant might have. You cannot guarantee that a tenant won't be compromised. In the world of high-stakes security, you eliminate the variables. And unfortunately, those neighbors were variables. There is also the matter of the Children's Environmental Educational Center within the new exclusion zone. It has been forced to close down. Again, this is sad. We love education. We love the environment. But the Crown Estate has stated they are working with the Wildlife Trust to identify alternative sites. They are pausing activities, not canceling them forever. The narrative that William is crushing a children's center is a gross exaggeration. He is simply moving the perimeter. Tina, the local resident, compares this to closing Regent's Park in London and saying it doesn't matter because you can still go to Hyde Park. It is a dramatic comparison, but is it accurate? Windsor Great Park is vast. The Crown Estate spokesperson clarified that this security boundary affects a small area and does not affect the vast majority of public access. But for the locals who lived right next to it, it feels personal. Tina says she met a woman who cried when she got the email. She met people who had keys to the forest who are desperately upset because it feels like losing their back garden. And there is the entitlement. It's like their back garden. But it isn't their back garden. It is the Crown Estate. It is land held in trust for the sovereign. The clue is in the name. Tina argues that because the Crown Estate's revenues go to the Treasury, they should manage the land in the national interest. And she is right, but I would argue that keeping the heir to the throne alive is in the national interest. Stability is in the national interest. Preventing a tragedy is in the national interest. Let's look at the timeline. The park management announced that access via Cranbourne Gate will permanently cease on Monday, September 29th, 2025. The car park closes the day before. This is happening now. This is a permanent change to the geography of Windsor. Locals are being told to use Rangers Gate, which is just down the road. But the complaints continue. They say Rangers Gate is for horses. They say you have to walk miles to let the dogs off the lead. It is inconvenient. I grant them that. But let's flip the script. Imagine if William and Kate didn't take these precautions. Imagine if they tried to be people of the people and left the fences down. And then imagine if something happened. Imagine if a stalker got through. Imagine if a drone dropped something into the garden. The same people calling them selfish today for putting up fences would be calling them irresponsible tomorrow for not protecting the future king. William is in a no-win situation with the locals, but he is winning the battle that matters, the safety of his wife and children. We also have to debunk the financial criticism. The usual suspects are screaming about the cost, but the report confirms that the future king and queen are funding their move privately. They are paying market rent on the property. Any work carried out on Forest Lodge, the renovations, the interiors, will not come from the sovereign grant. They are paying for their own curtains. They are paying their own way. The security costs, of course, are borne by the state, as they are for every prime minister and head of state. That is the social contract. We protect our leaders so they can lead. Tina claims, I don't see the security benefit for the family. She argues that because Forest Lodge is next to a village and busy areas, It doesn't make sense. With all due respect to Tina, she is not a royal protection officer. She does not see the intelligence reports. She does not see the threat levels. The security services have decided that this location, with these modifications, is the best option. I am going to trust the experts over the dog walker on this one. She also says Kate and William's actual back garden has been fenced off from this land. It's just a view from their bedroom window, so they likely won't even use it. This is a classic misunderstanding of security buffers. You don't just fence the house, you fence the approach. You need a zone where you can see threats coming. You need distance. It isn't about William wanting a pretty view of an empty field. It is about creating a sterile zone where no one can hide. This controversy highlights the fundamental tension of modern royalty. They are expected to be accessible, yet they require isolation to survive. They are expected to be normal, yet they live lives that are entirely abnormal. Contrast this with Prince Harry. Harry fights for security he doesn't need. He sues the government to get police protection while he lives in a celebrity enclave in California. William, on the other hand, has the security, needs the security, and gets abused for using it. It is a double standard. Harry is praised by some for protecting his family by leaving, while William is called selfish for protecting his family by staying and fortifying his home. The Serious Organized Crime and Police Act designation is not used lightly. It is a heavy legal tool. It tells us that the threats are real. We are living in dangerous times. The Prince of Wales cannot take chances. So, when the locals of Windsor cry about their lost oak trees and their closed car parks, I say this: look at the bigger picture. You are neighbors with history. You are neighbors with the future. Yes, you have lost 150 acres of walking space, but you have gained the presence of the family that represents the heart of the nation. Tina says, enclosing public land for the benefit of one couple is outrageous, but they aren't just one couple. They are the future of the institution. They are the parents of the boy who will be king in 50 years. This isn't about one couple's comfort. It is about the continuity of the state. Kensington Palace has declined to comment, and rightly so. They don't need to justify their security arrangements to the press. They don't need to apologize for staying safe. The Crown Estate is handling the PR fallout, trying to smooth things over with the Wildlife Trust and the angry residents. But let's be real. The fences are up. The cameras are on. The gates are closed. Forest Lodge is now a fortress, and it will remain so for decades. The locals will eventually find new walking routes. The anger will fade, but the safety of the Wales family must remain constant. It is easy to call someone selfish when you don't have to live with a target on your back. It is easy to complain about a detour when you don't have to worry about kidnapping threats. Prince William has made a vow to protect his family, and he is keeping it. If that makes him selfish in the eyes of a few neighbors, I think he is perfectly fine with that. He would rather be a selfish father with safe children than a popular neighbor with a tragedy on his hands. I want to know what you think. Is the local outrage justified? Is it unfair to close 150 acres of public land for one family? Or do you agree that the future king's security trumps the convenience of dog walkers? And what do you make of the evictions? Necessary evil or heavy-handed tact? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. This is a debate about the price of royalty, and I want to hear your side. Don't forget to like this video if you support William protecting his family, and subscribe to the channel for more unvarnished truth about the royals. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes on the palace.